for the first time all season, you can't just play anybody you want on DraftKings. And if you ask me, I think that's fantastic. You're watching The Perfect Lineup, where Josh Engleman and myself, Dave Loughran, try and build a beauty, take down a tournament on the Week 6 Sunday main slate. And as always, if you want a free month of Sims Max NFL, all of our tools for NFL, all you got to do, leave a comment down below. Who is going to have the most receiving yards this week? Listen, if you play this in a tournament mindset, it's a possibility that you are the only one who guesses it, and we don't need to spin the wheel. You've just got that free month of Sims Max NFL coming your way. So leave a comment down below. Most receiving yards in Week 6 main slate, guys, not the night games. And as always, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way, and we appreciate you for it in advance. Let's get into the lineups. All right, so as always, I'll build 3 lineups here. I'll build out the framework, right? We'll lay the foundation, hand it over to Josh, let him run the single lineup Sims and see how they come out. We will incrementally increase the randomness with each lineup to get some different players as well when we optimize these. And of course, if you want to check out the free lineup, Tails exclusive that we put up always every week, it's over on Tails under Josh's account. Follow me for all of my free bets and DFS content and a possible $1,000 giveaway that we've got going on. All you have to do is hit that fire emoji. Both of us over there. All of the content is free. You're going to love it. First lineup, yeah, we're going with an interesting one here. I need to do it. I've talked about it all week. And if it doesn't work, I don't care because I like it. We're going to go Davante Adams and Kyren Williams with no Puka Nacua. I already know Puka Nacua is going to show up in a bunch of lineups this week, so why not try at least one without him, right? What's the point of us doing this show? What's the point of you watching this video if we're not having some fun with it and try and create some differentiation? In this case, and I have the stack build out as well, we're going to go Davante and Kyren with no Puka Nacua, but what this says is, hey, we are still getting ample exposure to the Rams offense in Baltimore, where they are more than a touchdown favorite, where Baltimore's defense has been gutted from top to bottom, right? Not just on the D line, not just in the secondary, everywhere. And the offensive line is banged up as well. So it stands to reason the Rams are going to be on the field a lot in this one. Yes, Puka Nacua is garnering a massive target share. No questions there. Yeah, Puka Nacua is the best receiver in football, on pace to shatter all of the records previously held in the NFL. I get it, but it's a 1-week sample, guys. It is a 1-week in a 1-week sample. Jake Browning and Jamar Chase can go out there and put up monster numbers, right? Bryce Young, who we may talk about later, can go out there and put up a big game at sub 5K. It doesn't mean they're good. It means we're dealing with one individual week. And in these tournaments, even single entry contests, they're still large field tournaments. It helps to be different. And I think this is a good way to do it because the Rams have the most concentrated offense in the league. If Puka Nacua at $8,700 ends up having an underwhelming game by even his standards, who are the primary beneficiaries? Most likely. Is it Tutu Atwell or Blake Corum? Probably not. It's probably Davante Adams and Kyren Williams. So without Stafford and Nacua, we get exposure to a team with one of the highest totals on the slate against the Ravens team defense that is coughing up 30-plus points every week. And we separate ourselves at the same time so we're not chalky. Within this build, we're going Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey. They're in the 5K range. There's no real differentiation point between Quentin Johnston, McConkey, and Allen right now. And the Chargers offensive line is banged up. Here's why I'm not super concerned about it on a slate like this. One, Mekhi Becton is back. Hasn't been good as a run blocker, but in pass protection, he's been perfectly fine. You're probably not going to have Joe Alt this week, but at the same time, Miami has one of the worst pass rushes in the league and one of the worst secondaries in the league. So it's a, movable, stoppable force against a movable object. And in this case, let's fire some shots on this stack, especially knowing that Amarian Hampton is on the IR and Kamani Vidal and Hassan Haskins are their running backs. He may be forced to throw. So even if he's inefficient, who cares? We get the volume, and that's what we want.
All right, here we go in the single lineup simulator. Lineup number 1 for week 6. And Loughy just set us up with a massive core. Justin Herbert is going to be our quarterback, and we're getting Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen. So double Chargers. But we're not stopping there. We're also adding Kyron Williams and Devontae Adams. We're getting the running back, wide receiver for the Rams. Different game. They're taking on Baltimore. And we've got a Herbert +2 stack set up. $19,400 left. We need a running back, a tight end, a flex, and a defense. I'm going to click complete this lineup. It's going to give us the optimal 4 plays that fit into those spots. And in this case, it looks like we're just going to spread it around. We spent every single dollar of our salary. We got Javonte Williams in. We've got Chris Olave in. Trey McBride slots into the tight end spot. We end up going Titans defense. That spends the full bag. But the only thing that matters at this point is if this lineup is actually any good. So we're going to click Run Lineup Simulation to find out how well does it grade out. And we're off to a solid start. 43% sim ROI, 0.2% chance to win. 33% cash rate looks pretty good for what we've got here. I like the correlation. I think we could probably improve it a little bit. Maybe we swap one of these guys out and get somebody from the Dolphins, or maybe we swap one of these guys out and get somebody on the opposite side of that Rams stack. But ultimately, we're off to a pretty good start. Good work, Loughy. I'll be honest, when I went to check and see if anybody hit the giveaway, I didn't think anybody was going to get it. Rico Dowdle was the highest scorer last week. I just didn't think anybody was going to guess him. Not only did someone guess him, 2 somebodies guessed Rico Dowdle, and they got it right. So one of you 2 are going to be the winner. If it's you, email support@stokastic.com with a screenshot when the name pops up. I really wanted this one to go the different direction, but unfortunately it did not. Apologies for what I'm about to do here, but if you are Bush Sucks Daily, you win. Email support@stokastic.com and claim your prize.
All right, let's go to lineup number 2. This is a fun one. I'm going to run with 4 in the core and let the Sims do the rest of the work when Josh takes over here. As always, if you guys want to get access to the single lineup sim, right? The actual Sims as well, which are the crown jewel over at Stokastic. You see it on the screen. All the milli makers we've had in just the last calendar year on the NFL slate, and also fantastic for low stakes stuff too, because if you're utilizing these tools in lower stakes stuff, you have a distinct edge over the field where most people simply aren't. Use that link in the description. That perfect 25 promo code will auto load when you check out, and you'll get 25% off any NFL monthly subscription, core or max, access to the full suite of NFL tools. Use that link. It'll auto load for you when you select your package, and you are in. I want to go with the Trevor Lawrence stack, and I'm going to tell you why. Not because I love this spot against Seattle, not even because like, oh, you saw what Baker Mayfield and Emeka Egbuka did last week against Seattle in Seattle. No, even though that was helpful. But the reason for this is you're getting a discounted stack. Trevor Lawrence, we saw last week, he can still play good football, right? And also, I don't anticipate Brian Thomas being mega chalk on a slate like this either. But here's the kicker. Trevor Lawrence is 5,100. And with Brenton Strange on the IR, that means Hunter Long is 2,500 at what is a very weak tight end position, especially with Brock Bowers still not practicing. I'm recording this at 9:50 on a Friday morning and trending towards not playing again. I will say, though, Michael Mayer makes for a good little tight end play at a value spot if Bowers ends up sitting. But if you go with Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., who had a wonderful catch late in that game to essentially set them up to win against Kansas City on Monday night, and a minimum salary Hunter Long, you can plug Jackson Smith and Jigba in as your run back, who behind Puka Nacua has been the best receiver in football this year. And my guess is that the Sims are going to be able to feed us other high-priced options to make this lineup look great. It's a 1.5 point spread. Jags laying just under 2 points at home. Could end up being a shootout, competitive game in Jacksonville. These are the type of spots I want to take some shots on when we can get to a discounted stack and load up elsewhere and still not be super chalky.
All right, Loughy just set us up for lineup number 2. Very different direction this time. Trevor Lawrence in at the quarterback spot. Jags taking on Seattle. That's all that is in this stack right now. Brian Thomas goes in, unsurprising there, 6,200. Hunter Long goes in at tight end. So we get the double Jags stack, relatively light ownership, $2,500 salary. This is a tight end punt option, and we're bringing it back with Smith and Jigba. That is tough to say. It's the NJ thing. Yeah, nobody cares. $28,600 remaining. We need both running back spots. We need another wideout. We still have a flex remaining, and obviously defense is just going to be what we end up getting. But Loughy left me a note. We need 5% randomness. We're not just taking the straight up optimal plays. We want a little bit of wiggle. There's guys in similar projections. We want to make sure they're available to be grabbed. So 5% randomness. Let's complete this lineup. This one's going to be fun. So Javonte Williams goes into one of the running back spots, as does last week's hero and winner of the giveaway, Rico Dowdle. He pops up as the second running back. Puka Nacua shows up in this lineup as well. We're spending up at $8,700 for him. Trey McBride also sees this lineup as well. So double tight end build, Dolphins defense. So opposite side of the original lineup that we built, since we had a big stack there. This should be fun, guys. We're going to click Run Lineup Simulation, but before I do it, make sure you're hitting the like button, subscribing to this channel, and following us on Tails. There's a link in the description. There's going to be a bonus lineup posted exclusively to Tails. You don't want to miss it. I had a feeling this one was going to look good and better than the first, and I was absolutely right. Unfortunately, I didn't say that out loud, so you're just going to have to trust me. 88% sim ROI, 0.3% chance to win, 3.3% in that top 10 lineup. I like that a lot, but look at that massive increase to cash rate, 44%. I think we're going to have a hard time beating this lineup, but knowing what's coming next, you guys don't know it yet, but I do. I like the third lineup.
For our third and final lineup heading into week 6, I really like this slate, which is ominous because whenever you really like a slate, things typically don't go great. But you know what? Maybe we'll turn things around this week. And as always, I'm betting all of these games anyway. I'm throwing ladder plays in there over on Tails for free. Josh is going to be posting his NBA bets soon. He's posting free DFS content for NFL and MLB over there. If you guys aren't there, last thing, hit that link. Come follow us. Turn notifications on and check out the leaderboards and everything else we've tuned up to build out what I think is going to be the best betting platform and free DFS platform in the entire industry. So I want to talk about Bryce Young here. Is it gross? Yeah, it's gross. It's gross. And if you guys are new to the channel, we have live streams every day and Sunday, a 4-hour live stream. So tune back in if you want more info once we have injury news. Bryce Young, I got to do it. I'm willing to play gross players. And the reason I'm willing to do this is people always are under the impression like, I can't play that skinny stack. He stinks. It's like, do you not realize that if you're playing a sub 5K quarterback and you're getting him to a skinny stack, which is like $10,000, $11,000 max with his clear wide receiver one in a good matchup as only a 3-point dog at home against a bad Dallas defense, they don't actually need to be great, right? Hunter Long with Trevor Lawrence doesn't need to be great. If it gets you to Puka Nacua and whoever else was in the lineup, I don't know. It could be Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey. You get the point. If I play Bryce Young here with Teteroa McMillan and then plug in Javonte Williams, right? You can get whoever you want. Now, I'm going to show you that we're going to plug Puka Nacua and Josh Jacobs in, and I'll bet you this sims out really well because Bryce Young is dirt cheap in a decent spot. McMillan is 6K, but he's the number one receiver who is really yet to have a breakout game, and I think it could be on the horizon. Then Javonte Williams with Miles Sanders looking like he's not going to play again. Not sure that would matter anyway. Plus Puka, plus Josh Jacobs, and still room for more. Understanding that sometimes the cheap stacks can get you there. We've seen it happen so many times in the past. I mean, last year, Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors' skinny stack in week 2 against Washington won the millie. And Daniel Jones wasn't even good in that game. I could go on and on about the amount of bad quarterbacks who have ended up winning big tournaments, whether it's single entry or the lotto styles, because the rest of the lineup works. Bryce Young could finish with 18 today, and it's enough. And another reason for that, really important, is because this is tighter pricing. It's not as loose as it was in previous weeks. So an 18 spot from Bryce Young goes a whole lot further than it would last week when you could jam a $4,300 Dowdle and a $4,700 Rachaad White. So I like this build. We'll run it at 10% randomness to get a little bit weird and see what comes up in the sims.
Alrighty, time for lineup number 3, and Loughy has set us up with a Bryce Young and McMillan stack. We're bringing Javonte Williams back on the opposite side, and then just 2 solo one-offs. One of them is Josh Jacobs, 7,300, pulling a bit of ownership here, taking on the Bengals. And Puka Nacua shows up here. Now, that wasn't random. That was by choice at 8,700. Also 34% owned. Very curious to see what the rest of this lineup ends up being. $16,800 left. But I'm hoping that we can get at least 1 or 2 relatively low-owned guys to offset some of this Javonte Williams Puka Nacua chalk. Loughy's got a note. 10% randomness. This is not going to be straight optimal. We're going to get a little different here, and I think we needed to with this core. Let's see what it looks like. This is either going to be the best lineup we've built or the worst lineup we've built in this video. Because what got added here is super interesting. Tommy Tremble got added at tight end, so we got a second Carolina option. This has now become a 2-man Panthers stack with Bryce Young. We also got Ryan Flournoy at 3,600, so we've got another piece of the Cowboys coming back. This went from a 1-1 to a 2-2 in that game. Very different. McCaffrey shows up in the flex spot. So we're not only spending up for McCaffrey, we're also spending up for Puka Nacua, and we're closing it out once again with the Dolphins defense. No salary left on the table. Let's roll the dice because this one's different. Yo. I told you it was either going to be awesome or bad. We got awesome. 133 sim ROI. We really couldn't have built much better than this. This is sick. 0.4% chance to win, a 3.5% chance at a top 10 lineup, and a 35% cash rate. We gave up a little bit of that cash rate from lineup 2 to take our ceiling significantly higher. I love that extra stacking we got. I thought lineup number 2 was going to be the one. And the first lineup was pretty good too. But I think it's very clear, until you guys see the bonus lineup on Tails, lineup number 3 is the perfect lineup.